Good afternoon. Sorry, Matthew and I were having a bit of a cuddle.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome up here.
How are you?
So happy to have you guys up here. Huge fan, as we all are in this room. So I want to kick us off. I like having this as a bit of an icebreaker question. Obviously, I don't have to tell any of you how much of a comfort and the truly lifesaver Harry Potter has been for so many people in this room and around the world. So now I want to know what you guys turn to as your comfort show, your comfort movie, your comfort character. What's something for you that's like...
First of all, do we have any Potter fans in the house? Second of all, do we have any Slytherins in the house? The rest then you can bugger off.
Well, that's just me, isn't it?
No, good question. Matthew, start us off. What's your go-to?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, we've just been Christian and I have just been talking about boring everyone else talking about video games back there.
Oh yeah.
Which is
You complete Hogwarts Legacy in like 3 weeks or 3 days.
I did get the platinum trophy on it. Yeah.
I did text him saying like, how do you get past this?
Yeah, I was really bad. It's so bad. But no, do you know what my favorite? I like Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie. I'm a bit of a nerd and that stuff. It's just yeah, I like Star Trek. I watch all of them.
Yeah.
All.
How about you guys? What's your go-to comfort TV
I
blanket?
don't remember, I must have answered. Did you ask this yesterday?
I did not. Surprise question.
God.
New questions today, Christian.
Give me a second longer. What is, I mean, video games definitely
That counts.
are a big part of it. Yeah.
What do you play? What's your...
I've just been playing Expedition 33, which is... oh, I love that. That's so, it's moving and it's fun, and I got to the end and it felt like the right
No,
thing.
wait,
I'm not going to say what happened.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it felt like a satisfying... Sometimes you get to the end of a game and I'm like, that was twice as long as it should have been. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I wanted there to be more, and it was one of those that was just perfect,
Okay.
story-wise.
We can swap seats if you want to have a look. No, because I'm desperate to get into it, but I have the patience of well, not enough to get through this complicated game. So
What's your comfort?
Well,
show?
it's going to sound really stupid now, but if I need a comfort blanket to go to sleep to, I usually put The Simpsons on. Oh, you've heard of it? Yeah. Homer is my best friend. You just listen to that. Yeah. How about you, Scarlett?
TV show, I'd say something like Friends.
Wow, there's a lot of fans of a lot of things. I feel like the scream when we came on was not as earned, because you're screaming for everything.
Everything you say, everything you guys say gets everybody excited.
Good icebreaker, though. You didn't know.
Yeah, it's a fun question, I think. So,
First of all, what's yours? Just say Potter, we can move on.
honestly, that's not a lie. Specifically, yeah, I'll say Harry Potter, and also I'm a Slytherin, so I'm a little
You've earned double points.
A little biased here. A little biased. I have a soft spot for evil green themes. If there's any Arrow fans in the house, I think. So anything a little, not so totally goody two shoes, I'm a fan of. Yeah.
Yeah, we could swap places if you want.
Okay, sorry, go on.
So I do have a question because I liked hearing you guys talk about like different projects and starting new things and stuff. If you could go back to before you filmed, before anything came out, right when you found out that you guys got these roles, what do you think you would tell that much smaller version of yourself? Like just a little thing, like would you say anything?
I want to hear Matt's answer first. Scarlett, is there anything that you would say? Other than not to go out to TGI Fridays with me?
I wasn't as...
I just found out they went on a date to TGI
We did not go
Fridays.
out on a date.
I just learned this, by the way. Tom's never taken me to TGI Fridays. I'm like furious about this.
Okay, that's been quite the ruffle. Sorry.
Well, I wasn't young. I was 22. I had already done. I had done the hours on like a TV show, and but there are things I would like to go back and tell myself.
What would you say?
I think the first thing I would say is like it felt so serious. I mean, the role is serious. The the pressure, or like when I was just so aware of people getting fired from things. And
Well, you said yesterday that if you didn't book it, you were gonna quit.
oh
So
no,
that's-
that was slightly flippant. No, that was because I read the book and was like, if I can't book this role, what am I doing? Like it felt such a fit for me. But I wish I could go back and be like, have fun, invite people to set, like have friends come along and work. Because we spent 8 weeks doing one scene, and for the last 6 weeks of that, it was really about special effects. So I could have had people there, but it felt so intense to me what was going on. And I think that is part of why the performance is the way it is. Like I think if I felt differently, I probably wouldn't have booked the role. But I wish I could go back and like just be like, stop for a second. Nothing will ever be made like this ever again. And really like soak it up. It felt more like, I guess this is how life is going to be from now on. And so I didn't stop to be like, oh, this is very unusual.
And arguably, obviously the Great Hall is a fantastic set, but arguably the greatest set of all was...
Yeah, it's my favourite.
Are you kidding me?
The chamber was wild. The other weird thing about that set was you went out of the chamber and the forest was just the other side. Do you remember the like? So there was this huge spider set just the other end of the aircraft hangar, and then we were in a set that sort of feels not unlike size-wise this room, which is so crazy.
So wait, you were 22?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say it's twice the size of this room,
It was
and
huge.
it looked really ugly from the outside.
And all the side tunnels and actual...
Yeah,
water
and everything you saw, it was practical.
it's very cool.
I didn't get a chance to work there, but I certainly fanboyed out.
It was so fun. What about you? What would you go back and say?
I'm going to interrupt to Scarlett. What was your...
I don't know, I was
advice?
16 at the time, and I think, you know what you're saying about having fun. We all had like a lot of fun on set. I was just saying to Matt, like, when I joined, there was quite a lot of us who were joining at the same time, like some of the other girls. So it was around the same time that we were all kind of going out, you know, because we were all turning 18 around the same time. So we actually had like a lot of fun off set. So it was, you know, it's nice. It really felt like we were at school. So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about anything else than really just enjoying myself.
That's like the beauty of doing something so young, is you do think like this is how it's gonna be forever, and this is so fun, and look at these new friends, and
I wish I stole more props.
I didn't steal anything.
no, you didn't.
Did you not? That's not what you told me.
You guys just have to say it. Guys, Scarlett has never stolen anything from set, okay? If anybody asks you, that's the story.
No, actually, I'm really glad for that. Do you remember they used to be quite pedantic about the wands?
Yeah, not
So we
sure.
never actually had like the wands to play with. It was like, okay, rolling cameras, give them the wands.
Yeah.
And then cut, take the wands.
Yeah, Gary Inson.
Because they knew that you would take them.
Yeah, Gary was our prop master, and he would literally stand at the exit of the set and making sure he got everyone's wand before we were allowed to even leave the set.
Yeah, but to be fair, it would have been so stressful because there were so many of us. So
Yeah.
like having a pair of everyone with their same one, like if we were all
Like you're running off for a quick
lost.
pee, and Gary's like, wand.
I don't know how you felt. I haven't asked you. I'm quite grateful for that because I'm sure I probably would have lost it by now. But now they are in Leavesden.
Yes.
The studios we shot, but they have a beautiful carousel of our actual ones, and I know it's mine because it's got a small nick out of it from where I dropped it 1,000 times.
What about you?
Oh, what would I tell
What would you
myself?
tell yourself?
I think, yeah, it's kind of similar to Christian a bit, really. I'd probably tell myself to enjoy it a little bit more. I was very shy when I was younger, and I didn't. In those early years, in particular, I wish that I'd been a little bit more comfortable around some of the older guys. I think it wasn't until maybe I was like 17, 18 that I started to really talk to a lot of the older ones, and then became friends with like Robbie and would have long chats with Alan and stuff like that. And you were always great at that from a young age.
Well, but I completely agree with you. We had no idea who Sir Richard Harris was.
Right, yeah.
Even Maggie Smith was, I knew Robbie Coltrane because Robbie Snape, Alan because of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
But also the reality is like we're 12-year-old kids. We don't really care who's like famous or not. So possibly it would have been a better time to ask for some advice.
Yeah, I wish in hindsight I'd done a bit more of
Instead,
that.
we were just like nicking Robbie Coltrane's phone and turning his
Yeah.
language into Turkish, just a mess.
Absolutely fuming. He was fuming.
remember that?
Yeah, he was really pissed off.
I imagine that even though you guys had school and things to do on set, that with such a big ensemble, there was a lot of downtime. Was that correct to say? Was there like time where you're just kind of waiting in the wings and in trailers and stuff? And if so, what do you remember from that time? Like, do you remember? It sounds like a little bit of pranks were happening.
Well,
It
you
sounds
guys
like-
would also have to go, when on Chamber of Secrets, you guys would have to go to school.
If there was time off, we were usually at school.
Did you skip that? Tutoring, as they
Yeah,
call
because
it.
I was in my 20s, but I would have to wait. So
Yeah.
so
I've been on both
So a
sides.
third of the day I would be filming with Dan and Bonnie, and then the other 2/3 there were 2 other sets of stand-ins who would be in. We would be doing things that where you didn't have to have them on camera, but also the turnaround is insane. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of lights. And there's usually 3, there were usually on that one, 3 or 4 cameras when we were doing that scene. So they would say, okay, we would rehearse, and they'd say, right, we're gonna light it. And I would watch maybe 2 movies in my trailer, and then they would be like, okay, we're ready for you now. So it would be about 3 to 4 hours between setups for them to...
Can we vouch though, as a crowd, it was worth it. That is my favourite scene.
You know, Alan used to like find the youngest looking child to stand behind, so that he would be guaranteed so much time off every day, and he'd get guaranteed rap at 7 p.m.
Is that true?
That was
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great
So I learned that.
trick.
That's one thing I did learn.
No, you guys mentioned a lot of the effects, the turnarounds and stuff like that. How do you feel like having to add in a lot of the effects in post? A lot of it was practical, of course. How did that kind of affect your performances? And because I mean, it's one thing to go in an audition, it's another thing to have a scene with another character, but when you're dealing with all of these effects and prosthetics and everything, did that change your performances at all?
Definitely for me, I find it really difficult. I look how they make these kind of Marvel films nowadays, and they're just in a big green hangar. And we did that for a couple of scenes with some of the Quidditch stuff, and then in the prophecy room didn't exist. It was the way the Chamber of Secrets once was. Just a big green hangar, and all we had was the flooring. That was the only thing that was there. Everything else was put in post.
Wow.
And so, they had us like a miniature model that showed us what it would eventually look like. But the idea of it was the brightest green you can imagine. So the idea of having to imagine that it was claustrophobic and dark and intense was really, really difficult to really. And I watch. If I happen to see those scenes again, I can tell that I'm not quite in it because it's almost impossible. I don't know if I could make a big. We tried to do as much practical stuff as we could, and nowadays they just don't. And I don't know if I'd be able.
I'm trying to recall when I stole your. Help me out here, people, if I forget. Remember?
Oh yeah.
In the first film?
Yeah.
Yes, even that. But so much of it was done practically at
Alnwick Castle.
Alnwick Castle, thank you. And then so much was done with it with the this wrapped green screen room where you're sat on a metal room rather uncomfortably, I imagine. And then you just see it all put together afterwards, and it's obviously the geniuses behind the work did most of the heavy lifting, but it was lovely to be as practical as we could have been in the early days.
Like Chamber of Secrets, without it being a real set, would have been so much more difficult.
I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
How did you and the Basilisk get along?
Oh well, I was just thinking about that. So I had read about, I guess Matthew Lillard's Scooby-Doo movie had come out the year before, and I had read an interview with him where he said, well, they had asked him this question, and he said, well, I basically, the more I give them, the more there is for them to work with. Like, they are going to put the thing that matches what I've done. So I kept thinking about that when Forks like swoops in, and Dan and I had to stand and they would count numbers. They would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would like know where to look.
Was that Chris Carrera shouting the numbers out?
Yeah. And then there was a point when it swoops, and I was like, oh, whatever I do, they're not going to use it if it doesn't look right, and I will just give them something to and then they'll like match it in some way. And then when I got to see it, it felt like that. It was really.
It's a great way of thinking about it, because I've always selfishly am asking because I hate doing things without practical things there, and that's a really, really good way to look at it. Marvel, I'm ready for you now. I can swap from to see.
Scarlett, what about you? I don't know, on my first day of filming, we were doing our train scene in the Half-Blood Prince, and I knew we were shooting at Leavesden, but I assumed that it was going to be an actual train. Like, I just had not thought about it. It was just like a carriage, and then they had 4 people standing on, like, sitting on each corner, like, bouncing up and down, so they would shout, you know, action, and then, you know, you think it's moving, but it's not, and then when they'd say cut, guys outside are just like kind of exhausted. So,
Was I nice to you? Was I nice to you? Was I friendly? Was I kind?
yes.
Okay. Very
Wait, so your
wavering,
first scene was with each other? Your first
I
scene
guess
was
it
with
was.
And
yeah.
Lewis was there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yes, there's lots of magic behind the magic, I guess. But,
Yeah, just 4 blokes stood on planks.
Seriously, yeah.
But what's amazing about it to me is that, especially in the Chamber of Secrets, that, whatever you want to call it, CGI, special effects, visual effects, all of these different things, it stands up. It still looks like amazing. I really think it's
That team, I mean, those guys are incredible at what they do.
It's insane, and we're going back what 15, even more years than that, and it still looks up to standards. So like, yeah, I still I'm terrified of that scene.
Oh, good. That's nice. Thanks. It's nice to hear.
Now, I do have to give a special shout out because Tom, you are heading to Broadway.
Yes. Yes, thank you. You know what? I've had this under my hat for a while, and I thought, because I had this in my schedule for a bit, I thought there's no better way to celebrate it than I flew in. But the rumors are true. Draco is back. So I hope to see you on Broadway. I think it's November this year. So, yeah, should be fun.
Can I say this one? Because I just found this out a couple of days ago, and I am like, I'm buzzing about this.
I wanted to tell everyone.
How has this happened? Explain everything from start to finish.
Oh, no, hang on, this is not the time to do
No,
it.
it's exactly the time.
I am, in case you
Did you ask them or did they ask you?
No, I'm a huge fan.
Have you read the books?
They've got books? No, I've been to see Cursed Child at least 6 times now.
Have you really?
Yeah, in London. And I've befriended the other Malfoys that I've met, but purely really as a fanboy. I just didn't join the dots and think, wait a minute, maybe one day I can do that. So you can imagine my face when I got an email one morning saying, potential offer, Draco Malfoy.
Did you have to audition?
Yes. But that was for Hermione. I didn't get that. And then Draco, fine, sure. I pinched myself several times. I still don't really believe it's real, to be honest with you. I've printed the email.
As soon as it came in, were you just like, do you think, oh, I don't know, were you like,
Well,
yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, between you and I. So occasionally you get the emails, right, from your agents and managers or whatever, and they say, I know what you're going to say to this. And that usually means, in my case, Dancing on Ice or Celebrity Jungle program or something that I'm just like, I'll leave it. And this was one of those ones, and he said, I know what you're going to say here. So I was waiting for a cookery show on skates or something, I don't know, whatever it was. And they said, do you want to play Draco Malfoy on Broadway? And I just pinched myself, and I still do. I did not need any arm twisting. I just said yes, straight to it. Well, thank you. Cheers. Very excited.
You get to say that you've been on Broadway. Feels like a bit of a cheat, but still, they all count.
Can we talk about this other?
Well,
I can't wait to see it. I'm going.
I'm very excited to go.
I'm definitely going.
We're very excited for you, and it kind of got me thinking. I cannot imagine getting to return to a character after years and so much life experience, and like we're all, I think, different people than we were at the beginning of our careers. So, leading into a question for all of you, Matthew, we'll start with you. I know, get ready. If the opportunity arose and you got to step in those shoes again, would you do anything differently?
Well, no one actually.
Not would you do it, would you do anything
I
differently?
don't want to give an exclusive, so if anyone hears this, you can't tell anyone. But one of my clauses of coming back as Draco in Potter and the Cursed Child is Longbottom comes back too.
It's not possible.
I didn't tell you yet.
It's not possible, is it?
Professor.
He's not in that, he's not.
He is now. Sorry, I hijacked the question.
But yeah, so if you could fill those shoes again, would you do anything differently, or would you try to play it kind of closely?
Are you wearing a wig, or are you gonna just are you gonna dye your hair again?
It's perfect. I'm wearing a wig, definitely.
Okay.
It's down to my.
I'm so excited
Would
about
you
it.
would you do the TV?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, what would I do different was the
Yeah,
question.
what would you do
wasn't it?
differently?
Oh, I do all kinds of stuff differently. Yeah, I really struggle to watch any of that stuff back. I mean, again, it just comes with experience, and I mean, I've been doing this over 30 years now, and I feel like my approach to it would be very, very different now from what I did with it. Oh, well,
We all love Longbottom. Let's hear a shout out for. On that note, can I press you to talk about your new show or not?
No, I want to talk about your new show some more. I've seen him on stage before, and he's incredible. So I really can't wait for this. It's going to be so good. Are you going to do? Are you going to do something different, or are you going to just do it the same old way?
Absolutely, something different.
The same old
no,
way.
I'm going to bring something. I have no idea what I'll do. I usually make it up on the spot, right?
You have time to figure it out. You have until November.
Well, I don't really. It's the same character. I get it. We look similar, but it's a different story. He has a son. He has to collaborate with Potter to get their son. I mean, it's a whole different thing. If you haven't seen it, it's exactly where we left off from before. 19 years later was the last scene with me putting my son Scorpius onto the platform 9 3/4 to Hogwarts Express. So. Someone just correct me, please. Now's the time to do so. But yeah, that's more or less it. Which ironically is 19 years later, and it's exactly the age that I am now. So I guess they were just waiting for me to get older. But very, very, very excited. I hope to see you all here, all there. And if you are at stage door, remind me, and I'll give you a cuddle.
I'm sorry to hijack the whole thing, but I was very interested. Thank you for indulging me. Sorry.
Christian, would you change anything?
I feel like, you know when you go in for to do ADR, and you, which is like sometimes if there's sound issues on a scene or they've changed the dialogue, they get you to go in and you re-record, you like match your mouth movements to clean it up.
But you're like by yourself.
You're by
And, like,
yourself as a
doesn't-
sound engineer, and you're seeing the performance for the first time usually, and sometimes there's this thought in my brain that's like, oh, I wish I'd done it this other way, and then the thought is, maybe I'll try doing it this other way because I can re-record it today. And it's always a mistake, because the thoughts you had, I've forgotten like why the impulse I had on the day was the impulse I had. I'm like a different person than I was 6 months before. I've forgotten all the like feeling, and also the person I'm in the scene with isn't there. So like it's all like ego response to the thing and not about the truth of the scene. So I feel like I would want to go back and change things, but it would probably be the wrong idea. Like I actually think. Like I imagine you going and changing any element, and it would just be so like it would lose the reason that you were there in the first place. Any of us. So I probably would. I always want to like look cooler or be doing something that is more dynamic. And usually it's like that's probably if I had tried that in the audition, they probably wouldn't have cast
It
me.
becomes quite contrived then, doesn't it?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you try-
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah.
Scarlett, would you have been Team Slytherin still? Would you have switched?
Yes, Team Slytherin. But no, like talking more about what you're saying as well, I think it's just one of those things where it's easy to like really overthink certain days when you're working, and certainly, you know, kind of like auditions too, like you put a lot of time and effort into something, especially when you're preparing for a role. I think the healthier option is to always just leave it where it is. So yeah, no, I think it's fine, just like that.
It's actually what Christian was saying was interesting. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about this, and this is kind of, this might be boring for you guys. It's more about like craft. But like, everything's like self-tapes these days, right? We very rarely go in the room these days for auditions. And I find that what happens is when you're at home doing these self-tapes, you try really hard to hit every beat and every note, and therefore it becomes that kind of, you're messing around with it, and it loses the kind of the instinctive reaction that you get. Yeah, this, exactly. And therefore, it loses a bit of magic, I think. There's something about having that one chance to do it at the time, and then finding something new and interesting and reflexive.
Like with the self-tape, I can imagine like a lot of tapes that come in for casting directors, they're probably all very similar. Like, because everyone's kind of, like you said, like hitting the same beats, doing the same thing.
Well, you sit and you watch it back and you go, oh, my face looks weird there. Oh, my voice goes out there. And I think we're focused. There's a reason that there's
And that
a
might have been-
director on
that
set.
might have been
There's a reason-
interesting.
That's the thing, exactly. There's a reason there's a director on set to be like, no, it was perfect. We have it.
Yeah.
We're moving on. And so, yeah,
Were you nervous, Scarlett, on the first day?
Yes.
I don't remember you being ever nervous.
Yeah, it was.
Was it strange? I was just thinking about that. Was it strange to arrive having spent years
Watching, growing
in the
up with the
audience,
films.
and then be
Yes.
in the train with them?
Yeah, it was
Suddenly-
amazing, though.
Suddenly you're like, it's like you've had the dream where you step up and you walk into the screen.
Yeah, I remember like every Christmas or like in the fall time going and seeing Potter, like how everyone else did. And you know, we were talking about this too, like we're all kind of around the same age, so we would go to the movies, and like we would go see the film, and then, you know, the next year I was just also in the film, so it was just
did you
wild.
know what you were auditioning for when you were auditioning?
Yeah, I first auditioned for Luna Lovegood. So that's where I went in, and that's when I met casting, and then they called me back the year after. And yeah, it's great.
Yours meant to
I auditioned for Longbottom and then this prat turned up. Stole the line.
Okay, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up, but selfishly, I have one more
Wait,
question.
do we not get audience questions today?
Not today.
Oh.
It's too tight. Listen,
sorry.
this way everybody gets their photos and their autographs, and everything doesn't have to change at all. So this way it all kind of shakes out. So my final question for you guys is, if you can, I know it's an impossible task, but if you can summarize into like 1 or 2 words what the experience has been to you. Just one or two, like it doesn't have to be a major thing. No
Again,
elaboration.
I missed the middle bit of the question.
If you can summarize in like 1 word or 2 words, what the experience has been to you like now. Somebody asked me this about
The
another
Harry
show.
Potter
I was like,
experience. But how
yeah,
it
the
feels
experience.
now. No. I feel like this should go at the other end.
Yeah, Scarlett, kick us off. No, ladies first.
I
I
can't do
believe
this
that's
all the
tradition.
time. I don't know, it was just such a special, unique experience, you know, and when I joined, everyone had already been there for like quite a long time, like working together, and so it really did feel like a family, and so that in itself was such a blessing. You know, it's so wonderful to work with nice people, first of all, but secondly, to work with people who are genuinely like very talented and kind, and it was just kind of like a, you know, a lesson how to, I don't
Working
know,
with
just-
Tom Felton especially.
It was a really wonderful experience.
Those-
We'll just leave it there. But it was though,
That's
it was
my
so
2 words.
special. I don't know what else to say about it. It was very
That was
special.
2 words.
That was more than 2 words.
And I know it was.
I'll allow
How
it.
can you say?
I know,
did
but
you
look
have
at her outfit. I'll allow it.
Okay, then
The
I'll just say
outfit
one word.
earns you more. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. Like my kids are like 3 and 4, and we've just started watching them. We can't get past the 3rd film because they love Dobby, so we're just watching Dobby all the time. They will not get past it, but
Have you sorted them into house yet? Or have
no,
they?
they're too little. Not yet.
Okay, well,
I don't
we
want to
know.
choose for them. They can, you know, they'll come in time. But you know, it's just one of those things where it's just kind of mind-boggling at the same time. Like, oh, this is, you know, a huge part of my life, and so for that, I'll just always be grateful.
It's a great answer.
One word, not
It's okay. It's okay. Christian, you get one word.
I'm gonna have two, but the first
Okay,
word
I'll
is gonna
answer.
be
magical.
Okay. I'll allow it.
privilege.
I've got more than 2 words. I can't say any more than that. I just think we all finished. Did we not finish the films thinking like this is more or less the end of it? Like
Yeah.
the wizarding world is clearly going to decline, and here we bloody are, and the flame is
Yeah, you're about to be on Broadway.
That's a huge surprise and a huge privilege, and
That's his word. Pick another one.
I am not. Piss off, mate. You can see we go.
Were the two of you like this on set?
Yeah, pretty much. I have not seen anything singularly bring the world together more than Harry Potter. Doesn't matter where you go. So for that to continue and bring people together, I don't care what house you're in. The 3 of my brothers are Hufflepuffs. I know, trust me, I've been dealing with that for years. But to see everyone here together, doesn't matter where you are in the world, and to celebrate the wizarding world is amazing. I'm very grateful, very grateful.
I mean, I can't really top that, can I?
Just like,
You can try.
I didn't realise that we were cutting this Q&A short, so I do apologise for doing all that cursed child chat. I'm sorry, I thought I took up the lion's share of this
We
whole
do
thing.
tend to ramble, don't we?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think,
sorry.
I think
I
we're
was
all okay
genuinely
with you guys
interested.
rambling, right?
Um,
I think it's okay.
It feels like the two of you should have a podcast, honestly.
That'd be fun, actually. I'm going to steal actually a word that Scarlett used because it felt very much like she said a family, both on this side of the screen, but also over the years. The thing that's kept all of us still coming to these shows, you know, when did the films end? 2011, so 15 years later that we're still coming to these shows is because our fan base, you guys, are so incredible and so wonderful and so much part of our family now that it's just made this whole experience so special. So I'm going to use that. We love you.
Thank you guys. We're gonna line up and take a photo really quick, and then we will see you guys at autographs and photos.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Yeah, get used to that, man.
Yeah, I should.
You're looking for a place to live.